This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
What's it like as a new quarterback to try and get on the same page with your receivers? How important is it? The nonverbal communication, stuff like that. I'm John Pennington. This is the Sports Source Digital Network. I'm joined by John Wilkerson. You're not going to answer those questions. You're going to ask questions.
That's right.
We're both going to ask questions of this guy, Sterling Henton, former Vols quarterback, who has thrown to some of the best receivers in the history of Tennessee. Just the NFL guys you threw to: Alvin Harper, Carl Pickens. I mean, it's
T.D. Woods, Terrence Cleveland, Corey Fleming.
Yeah, it's a heck of a list.
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller was there, yeah. A lot of NFL guys, a lot of people who are still on that Tennessee all-time receiving list.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, I will get your take on this one too before we get into the quarterback receiver thing. Josh Heupel decided to go ahead and name Joey Aguilar. I like it. I think it makes sense. You're 2 weeks out. Now, he has taken his time with this in the past. He has taken it right down to game day. This time, he has announced it 2 weeks out. I think it makes sense. Let the team rally around the new guy. I think it was clear he was going to be the guy as soon as you brought him in. We did this months ago. You don't bring him in to not start. I don't know that he ran away with the competition, but nobody else came close to catching him, apparently. So why not just go ahead and name him? And before we get to start, what's your take? Were you good with it? Or?
Yeah, no, I like the fact that if you know, you know.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason to drag it out. And I also like the fact that came out on a Sunday night before the first day of classes. So it's not like the announcement was over the weekend and then you're right back to the practice field. It was a chance for it to sink in. And then, of course, everybody had to go through that non-football day where you make sure that you've got everything lined up the way it's supposed to. And then you go back to the practice field on Tuesday. So I think there was a chance for everything to sink in. Get I also think it wasn't a big surprise.
Right.
So at the same, I like the fact that it wasn't dragged out. It wasn't something that's like, when we get through we get through that mock game week, then we'll make a choice. Why not go ahead and say, no, this is our guy?
Is there value in naming the starter 2 weeks out?
It's value knowing who your guy is at every position as early as possible. And quarterback is probably the most valuable position on offense.
Yeah.
And, Coach made a call, and I'm sticking with it, riding with it.
Let me ask you. You've been in this position too.
Yes.
There was a time when you got it and Andy had to sit behind. There was a time when Andy got it and you had to sit behind.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel said he liked the way Merklinger and McIntyre took the news. How tough is that when you've worked for it and then it goes to the other guy? Nobody ever feels they got an equal shot.
Well, it's not that you got an equal shot, just you came to play.
Yeah.
So when you come to play, you want to play.
Sure.
And, it's not a good feeling, but, it's definitely a call. You make sure you're on your game because one play away is your day, and you got to be ready.
Plus, I think it would make you focus more in terms of, I don't know about you, but there have been times in life when all of us have wanted X, you didn't get X.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, that gives me a little extra fire when that happens with me. It's like, okay, I'm going to show you something. And I'm assuming that an athlete at the college level would have a little bit of that kind of mentality as well.
And that's at every position.
Yeah.
It's just not at quarterback. And iron sharpens iron. And, you want your teammates to know. And this is what makes teams better. And whether fans realize it or not, you think about those wonderful days in San Francisco with Joe Montana. Steve Young was right there.
Yep.
Steve Young was right there. And, the team is just more cohesive. The team is more confident in what they can bring to the table when they know they got 2 quarterbacks or 3 quarterbacks that can play the position regardless. And it's just less worry for other people in other positions.
Let's talk about now that he's been named. You've lost. You were splitting reps with Jake Merklinger, and McIntyre got some as well. But you were splitting reps for a couple of weeks of fall camp. You also had your top 3 returning receivers who missed a lot of time. Mike Matthews has been out there, but he missed today and had a knee brace for a while. Staley has been out. Brazel missed a lot of time. Now they're all getting healthy. So you got 2 weeks to get everybody on the same page. Talk to me about the importance right now of Aguilar getting rep after rep after rep with Matthews, Staley, and Brazel.
It is more important than ever because you want all your guys and your weapons to be healthy, and you want to put them in positions to make plays. So what happens in practice, unfortunately, just isn't enough. You got to go out there and after practice and before practice and have your own time together to get that continuity, get the different shake of a different look on defense. You know, maybe get some of the defensive guys to stay with you and get some extra reps in, because the way this offense is set up, you get in a position to make a play, you're in a position to make a big play at any time, and that could be game changing. So they're blessed to be in the offense that they're in, and boy, I wish I was. Man.
There's chemistry on the field, and there's also just chemistry between teammates. And I'm curious as to where you think. See, Miles Kitselman's also somebody who hasn't been available the entire camp. And at the same time, I think he's probably the closest in step to Aguilar and what his road has been, his path. Both have multiple stops before they arrive in Knoxville. Kitselman has 1 year in the program, so he knows what the offense is. He's also perhaps going to be that security blanket when he's looking for an open receiver. So what do you think in terms of that aspect, the intangibles that don't necessarily fall right in between the lines on the football field?
Well, you know, those things, the closer you are as a team, in my opinion, the tighter that fist is when you're swinging that punch against another team. Just the way it is, man. I mean, you know, when you out there want to go to war for your friend, teammate, and tradition of a school, that's a hard wall to knock down, brother. And best case scenario for any other team, they're tied if they do happen to have more points at the end of the game. But they didn't win. They just had more points. You know, it's a difference.
There are some things that have worried me, and I would say this about any quarterback who's coming in, but especially one who's didn't even get the benefit of spring practice. You need to, one, get a knowledge for your receivers. And you can talk about this, not name names, but you can talk about the fact that, yeah, there's some guys that run routes the way you want. Some guys don't. And you know before you snap the ball, that's going to play into it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about figuring out how long does that take for you to figure out, ooh, I like throwing to this guy on this. Did you ever have instances where there were people that...
I've had a lot of instances where, you know, certain receivers who some were considered great in certain routes when they were an A receiver, I'm already peaking at B because of the route they had to run. And, you know,
that's not one they run well, the way you like it.
Or the way that it, you know, the way I like it and the way that gives the offense opportunity to move the ball down the field. And because of the way you come comfortable with the offense, you can pretty much determine where the ball is going to be placed after your second step in your drop. Now, the blessing they have in this offense, you're going to be in the shotgun a lot of times. So you can see a lot of things. The defenses, you know, they're going to move around, and you can get a good, by the time the ball hits your hands, you got an idea where that ball's going. It's a matter of placing an accurate pass. But those things happen off those reps that are outside of practice.
There's also in the NFL where guys play together for longer. Peyton Manning would be able to look at Reggie Wayne and give him a look. Tom Brady would be able to look at Julian Edelman and give him a look. And they would adjust the route accordingly. They would know what was coming. I don't know how much time do you have in college to develop that kind of relationship? Probably not going to knock it out in 2 weeks to where you're going to have nonverbal communication with your receivers. Is that a drawback that you don't have that much time together, so you're not going to have that little edge of, do you notice this?
Well, maybe not the first game, because you'll get it toward the end of the season.
Okay.
Because you'll get the different looks, different tendencies, and now people are scouting. They got film to scout against you. So you may have a wrinkle in a certain thing that you've been doing 2 games prior. Now that they think defense has a defensive scheme they can run against you to be successful for them, and you might you'll give them a little something, or say a word inside the cadence. And those things happen, you know, most of the time as the season plays on. And you'll be surprised how many times that happens when you're successful and unfortunately you're less successful. So I say that because it's important to know what the plays are, know what your reads are. Stay there and have trust in the system. And this system's got some things for you.
Yeah, and that's another question. I mean, I'm not sure how often Josh Heupel would allow someone to. This may be a system where, no, you just stick to what I told you. Don't do any of that. But still, you're not going to have that right off the bat with a new quarterback, that nonverbal stuff that you do at some points in the NFL, or if you've 2 guys who've played together in college for 3 years or something. John, any questions?
Yeah, when it comes to the communication side of things, who do you think is – I would expect it probably is led by the quarterback since that's the team leader essentially by default. But when you are trying to work with a new group, do you go and perhaps talk to different receivers and say, hey, how do you like a ball? I mean, where do you like it? And I just wonder, do you initiate those conversations, or do you tell receivers, hey, if you got something you want to say it?
Well, well, first of all, in this day and age, you have to tell receivers to say it. They're always over. That's right. Receivers, it's 5 people up. Man, just throw it, I'll catch you. You know, that's the mentality of most receivers nowadays. But, you know, you want to always protect the receiver with ball placement. And the blessing that we have with this big offense that we have, you got 2 guys that were quarterbacks that are going to be giving you plays and understanding the game. So Joey Hall's the offense coordinator and quarterback coach, and Coach Heupel, they were quarterbacks. Very seldom does that happen. You have a person that can understand what's going on through your mind. Even when you're wrong, they might anticipate something wrong. They know how to make it right fast. And that's the blessing I think that these people have playing in this offense right now. You're going to be put in position to make plays. When it's time to answer the phone, baby, answer that puppy, make the play, and then give what your mother and father gave you the natural talent to make it better.
Well, another thing that they're going to have to figure out at some point is many times coaches learn what we're talking about. Quarterback's going to learn which receivers run which routes the right way. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of W's and R's now. Which receiver run the right route. But coaches have to learn, okay, my quarterback likes this play. My quarterback does this better, so let's call this play. Yeah. It's 3rd and 3. Which of these 2 plays do you like? Well, by the end of the season, you know. All right, he's good with this one. He likes this one. He hates this play. He's not his best. Let's get away from that. How long does it take to start developing that?
What's happening as I've seen it in recent years, John P., coaches are asking that question now to the quarterback. What you like in this scenario? It's 3rd and 7, midfield. What do you like? We like 3rd and 7 in the red zone. We're on the goal line. You want to use this? How you feel about that? They're asking those questions now. Back when I played, it was a different situation. You made happen what we just told to do. And that is making things on offense, in my opinion, have a higher success rate, because you want to know what your players like to do. And then when they're doing what they like to do, it gives you that little oomph of a better chance to be successful inside that play. And it's a million plays out there. I mean, we went to the line with 4 plays. Now they go to the line with just 1, and everybody's running options off them. And those are the offenses have changed. Yeah. The personnel have changed. And but when people start understanding each other, when you start understanding each other, and you can anticipate as a player on the field what play is coming next. Yeah. And then as a quarterback, then the rest of the players inside the huddle have anticipation what play is coming next. And you studied your film, you know what that defense is probably going to do. They got tendencies. And boy, you're out there, that's when you're having fun.
It is a week from Saturday, so it's about a week and a half as we talk right now. Everybody's different, but when it was your first time starting as Tennessee's quarterback, did you look at it as, hey man, I've got a big test. It's like I've got this due. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose. Or is it the flip side of that coin and it's Christmas Day, you can't wait for it to get here, and it's all day, every day? What was your mindset with that first start when you knew that you were going to get the ball for the Big Orange?
That's a great question. My thing was to make sure I didn't mess up too much. I was a second-year freshman then. And, I was a redshirt freshman. I didn't want to mess up too much, but I was going to run too much after practice. And, and that's what my mentality. And I knew if I executed what I was asked to do, it would be times inside the game where, Sterling Pearl can do what he does. Just do what's asked of you, and then let you become part of the game. So don't try to change things. Just become the game, then you become part of the game, and your offense will be successful. And I had guys that if I got them the ball, whether I handed it or threw it to them, they were hungry, and they were out there eating. And I was trying to give them a smorgasbord, so that's my deal, baby. Yeah, so that was my thought. When I first started, I just wanted to make sure I lined up right, and I'm going to share something. We were underneath the center back then. Yeah. I didn't want to fumble the snap. Don't fumble that first snap. And you'd be surprised back then if you do a little research how many quarterbacks when they first start fumble that first snap. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't. It was showtime. I didn't get a first down my first series. And one of the defenders, I won't say what team it was, but said something I didn't like. And I'm not going to I never been one that didn't have something to say. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? And then that got my fire started. And I remember Harry Galbraith and Reggie Cobb. May not say it was them. They put me aside. Sterling, it's good. I said, you already know they ain't got a chance to win it now. But that's just my mentality. But I'm glad we won that game. But
Well, I want to get you together. Hopefully, you can come by next week at some point.
Let's go.
Okay, we'll see if we can get you next week. I screwed up a scheduling thing. We were supposed to do something next, but we'll put that till next week because speaking about quarterbacks and centers, not only is Joey Aguilar having to learn new wide receivers right now, going to have a new center, and that has been a battle in camp as well. I want to get Ollie Lane, who was a guard but kept getting dragged in, much to his chagrin, kept getting dragged into that center position. I want to get the two of you together. We'll do that next week as in game week and talk about the importance of getting that relationship going. Because that's the thing about this team. This Syracuse game, man, I'm trying to think. There aren't many games recently, maybe the Josh Heupel game, and the Josh Heupel debut against Bowling Green. This may be the first time since then that you are learning so much on an opener.
Yes.
Because the Aguilar thing, the offensive line is new, the receivers are new, you got a new triumvirate at running back without Dylan Sampson. We're going to find out a lot next Saturday. So I'll bring you back and I'll get you together with Ollie Lane. We'll talk about that. Sterling Henton, thank you very much. The Pearl, always good to have you. John Wilkerson, always love having you here, man.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks to you for watching this. If you like it, click the thumbs up. Hit the notify button. That way we'll tell you when something comes up. Also, subscribe. That tells other people you like us. And leave a comment. If you got a question or if you got a comment, if you think of something that we didn't ask, let us know. We may get him on here and ask him the next time. Let us know what you think on the Sports Source Digital Network. We'll see you next time.